Jim, this next one is getting a lot of buzz, and specifically listeners are asking for your thoughts on this because of the connection. I have an article here in the New York Post by Ryan Glasspiegel. Jerry the King Lawler out as WWE commentator after 3 decades. Jerry the King Lawler's reign has come to an end.
What the f***?
The Post has confirmed that WWE did not renew Lawler's broadcasting contract. However, contrary to the tenor of reports in the wrestling space, a source said that Lawler, 74, remains on a Legends deal with the company. Lawler first joined WWE as a color commentator on Superstars in 1992 and would mostly remain in that role, working the flagship shows Raw or SmackDown, as well as pay-per-views, until 2016. His partnership with play-by-play broadcaster Jim Ross during the fabled Attitude Era formed the soundtrack of countless memorable moments in pro wrestling lore. It goes into a little bit of his medical history there, but let me stop there and get your thoughts on this, Jim.
Well, it's insane that, like, the end of an era. I love Lawler. I was a Lawler fan from the time I started watching wrestling. I'm not saying anything detrimental to him, but why are people thinking this is the end? How long has it been since he regularly did color commentary on any of the major programs to begin with? Do you know off the top of your head?
It says here in the article he was away from the company for about 9 months in 2001, of course, but he also returned for a stretch between 2019 and 2020, right before the pandemic.
Yeah, so that's been 4 years, and we're talking about a 74-year-old man, and I'm 62, so I'm not, like, being ageist. He's had a stroke. He's recovering from that, and I read somewhere he just had, I think, a knee replacement. So the point is, he's still under a Legends deal because he is a legend. And also, you're not going to see Jerry Lawler on a dark side of the ring for lack of funds, for not saving his money. He's got more money in the federal government. He enjoys being Jerry Lawler and being a personality, and being a wrestler and being an artist or whatever, but at this point, is it people are treating it like they've kicked him out in the street and he has no place to go and nobody to support him and help him? What the fuck? He's a rich man in his middle 70s who, because of his health, has had to slow down. So why would they re-sign him to another announcing deal? And instead of, okay, Jerry, you're in a Legends deal. They've done DVDs. I'm sure he'll guest on something, when he feels like it, the time is right. He was back, I think they're live at least for the crowd the last time they were in Memphis. So they've not, like, the new ownership has not said, well, let's get rid of this motherfucker, kick him out in the street. We don't care he's got nowhere to go. It's just you're not renewing a contract of a band that's as close to fucking 80 practically as he is to 70 and probably doesn't have any plans to do announcing in the near future. How is that newsworthy?
Well, again, people see it as Jerry Lawler fired or something, but again,
well, but that's
he
yeah.
can't do the modern commentary style. Most people can't. You have to yell a lot. He's an older guy. He may not have the vocal strength that he used to, and if you're not going to use him in that role, then he's not a commentator. If he's not a commentator, he doesn't need a commentator's contract. Doesn't mean the relationship ends. A Legends deal, we hear different things about them. What would that exactly include? That means, like, they would make action figures or t-shirts with them?
Well, no, with some guys, and I don't have one because I've never intended to sign one. Remember, I've been on that no contract thing for about the last 10 years.
You would have lost money if you signed one.
Well, and that's another thing. Because if guys are not set up to do their own merchandise, exploit their own intellectual property, and they're retired, the Legends contracts, they are eligible to get action figures or have merchandise done or whatever. With Lawler, I would think it might even be more extensive in terms of appearances if and when he does them or feels like it, or, some appearances on some of these pregame shows or whatever, or I don't know. But the point is, it's not like, and he's still going to have whatever royalties he's been receiving from what he's done in the past that's been eligible for royalties for. So it's not like they're just cutting him off, firing him, kicking him out. Fuck you, we don't want you around anymore. But there comes a point in everybody's, this is what I've been talking about with, when I say I'm amazed that Paul Heyman wants to go to France and fucking Saudi Arabia and all that shit at his age, or anybody my age wants to go anywhere. At some point, any business is not going to renew even their CEO if he's fucking 74 and, he's on oatmeal or whatever. I don't know. So it's not like that this is a guy who was just very recently regularly featured on television, still intends to be in the business and on a full or even part-time basis and needs it as a form to make a living. The king deserves to put his feet up at this point and watch the Browns or whatever.
Would you hear this line in a classic newspaper? Lawler made his bones as a wrestler in the Memphis territory.
That's right. That's right out of the classic 40s sports writer playbook.